Well, joining me to discuss that report is Chika Chukwujekwu, who is the Africa Business Group Manager for Price Waterhouse Coopers, who published that report. Thank you very much indeed for coming in. First of all, how did you go about identifying the 20 African cities with the most promise? And were you at all surprised by your findings?
Not really, if you think about it. You have over 120 cities in Africa, but we sort of looked at a mixture of commercial capitals or administrative capitals and picked the 20. We thought there was a lot of activity and dynamism, and we could now look at those 20s and see what's the story, what are the numbers around those 20s. And, as you mentioned, we've had the top 5 in North Africa, and we're not that surprised because if you think about what data currently exists about Africa, it's data that measures the current level of development, and a lot of these cities are older than sub-Saharan African cities, so they've had a longer period of time to be able to develop their infrastructure, develop their human capital, and the associated implications for society flourishing.
I would have thought that the growing incidence of terror activity, if you like, insurgencies and all that sort of thing in the northern part of Africa would have affected the potential of those cities there.
Yeah, you would have thought so, but the thing is, have we captured the data to record that? If you think, when did the Arab Spring happen?
Yes, I see what you mean.
So when you look at, if you measure political risk indicators, they haven't yet captured that sort of data.
And of course, your report talks about Africa being at an exceptional historical crossroads. What does that mean?
Well, it means that for a long time, Africa has been looked at like, to take it to the extreme, diseased continent, the hopeless continent for a long time. And we've emerged at this point where Africa, in spite of all its challenges, is still posting, for some of the countries, double-digit growth, and the world is beginning to pay attention to it. And apart from that, what you're seeing is also within Africa itself, emerging diaspora, emerging youth, emerging middle class that are rising to sort of say, we want to put our mark on the narrative for Africa, and I think that's very exciting. So apart from just the economic indicators and the attention from the global, investment community, it's also the awakening of Africans to say, look, we don't want to be victims anymore. We want to write our own narrative. That's
a very interesting point. And of course, as you mentioned there, the top cities are all in North Africa. What about the ones that are coming after, in other words, the rest of the top 20? I mean, what do they need to do to move further up the pecking order, if you like?
I think the beauty of our report was breaking down what they need to do into several different. So if you look at just under the top 5, you have Accra, a relatively young city, coming as number 6. Yeah, the capital of Ghana. And then you have Nairobi and Lagos, tying for 7th. And then, just underneath them, you have Abidjan, you have Addis Ababa, you have Kampala. So these are the emerging cities of the future. And when you look at the 29 indicators, if I were, say, the mayor of Addis Ababa or Abidjan, I'll be looking at, maybe if I improve transport, or airport connectivity, then I could move my city, just a little bit more up. So I think our report actually helps them break down what they need to do, so you don't have to get everything done immediately, but you can address 2 points, 3 points, and raise the ranking of your city.
And how do these cities compare on a global scale?
Well, as I mentioned, I think because our data looks at current level of development, they are not going to be quite close to cities like New York or London, or, what have you. But you never know what happens. Let's see what the next 10 years bring.
Okay. Chika Chukwujekwu, the African Business Group Manager for Price Waterhouse Coopers, who published that report we're just discussing. Thank you very much. Indeed, very interesting.